Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I have a new layout to share for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2020 December kits. And I'm just going to say that this layout is going to change drastically in just a minute. But my first thought was that I wanted to use this cut file with this striped pattern paper. And so I cut it out really big and had an idea of cutting it in half and then kind of running it off the page on either side of the layout. And I kind of liked it, but kind of thought, maybe I don't like it, I don't know. So I just played around with it for a while, because I've done this technique before with a wreath, where I cut it in half and then arrange it kind of running off the page. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because I used the striped paper and I felt like the stripes had to be perfectly straight or else it would just look weird. So I played around with it. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I knew that I was going to do some mixed media. So I went ahead and prepped my cardstock, and this is a sheet of the textured white cardstock from the cardstock kit, and I'm using Art Basics Finnabair Clear Gesso, and I'm just going to go ahead and coat the whole thing because I wasn't sure where these pieces were going to go and how I was going to do this. So I just wanted to go ahead and get the whole thing covered just to be sure. So this is one of the cut files that you can get over on the website. If you have a HipKit account, then you have access to all of the cut files. So I let my paper dry, came back, thought maybe I'll do it like this. I printed off my photos. I've got 4. I don't wind up using all 4 of these, but I thought maybe I can make 4 work, but these are kind of big. That's a 4x6 sheet of photo paper. And so I've got 2 photos on each one. So these are, you know, if I was to use 4 of them, they would take up quite a bit of space. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I played around with 2 photos. I played around with all 4. And in some of them, she's looking up in a different direction. So that kind of plays a part in where I situate certain photos. And I spent a lot of time trying to make this work, and I could not get it to where I liked it. I love the colors in this striped paper, but I don't know. I even put the pieces back together and tried it that way, and it just was not jiving for me. So I took a break, decided to go in a different direction, and I started fussy cutting some flowers. This is another one of the exclusive papers. All of the papers this month are exclusive, and I thought, I don't think I've used these flowers yet. So I just went to fussy cutting some of the light pink ones and some of those peachy color ones. And then I thought that this would be another color to add in that would go really well. It's a soft blue, and so I thought, well, there are no blue flowers, so I'll just make some. So I pulled out my 1.5 inch and 1 inch circle punches to create some circle flowers to match these other ones. But the flowers are kind of wonky, so I'm just kind of making these blue ones a little bit crooked by cutting around some of the edges there. And then I'm going to run them through my edge distresser to give them a little bit of texture. And just start from there and see if this design speaks to me a little more. And so this is kind of what I came up with. I think I'm just going to use 2 photos and layer them horizontally and then add all of the flowers / circles kind of vertically above and below the photos. I think I like this better, and I think it's going to change even more when I add the shimmers to the background. So in the meantime, I want to go ahead and get my photos set. I'm going to go ahead and layer in some tissue paper behind them as well as some adhesive foam and just start there. I like to give my photos a little bit of dimension and a pop off the page, just kind of adds a little something extra when you layer things. Like I've got some of the flowers that I'm going to layer under and over the photos, so it just kind of makes it look a little more 3D, I guess. I got a couple of Pocket Life cards that I'm going to layer behind the photos there. I've got a light pink one for the left photo, and then this one is a light gray and white stripe, and I felt like gray was okay to use here since the photos have a lot of gray in there. And I put the photo of her on the right because the way she's looking, she's making a silly face and she's like staring off into space, which is just silly because that's how she is. She makes all kinds of cuckoo faces, which is just funny. but I wanted her to look like she was looking across the page, and so that's why I put the photos in this specific order. I'm going to layer in some chipboard pieces. I've got a frame that I just cut in half there that I'm going to add to the outer edges of the photos, as well as this chipboard tag that I'm going to layer underneath the one on the left, so it's kind of peeking out the edge there. And then I'm going to work on the background. Now, I was thinking that I wanted to do a gold background, so that's where I'm going to start. And I pulled out the Christmas Cheer shimmers that we get in the color kits this month, and I thought I might incorporate the gold Nouveau crystal drops that we got last month. I don't wind up using those, but I pulled those out anyway just in case, because you know, it's something else that's gold that we got recently that I thought I might use. I'm going to do something I haven't done in a long time, and that's the packaging technique. I used to use this technique all the time, and then, I don't know, I just kind of shifted into another way of making backgrounds, but I felt like using the packaging. So I just pulled a piece of plastic, painted on some of that Christmas cheer, added a little bit of water, and then flipped it over and basically stamping it down. I love this technique, and I just love the look that it creates. And if you watch my videos, then you know I tend to add some color to the paper, add water, and then pick the page up and let the watercolor kind of run and blend and do its own thing. You can see the difference here in the packaging technique. You still get a wonky, messy, artsy looking shape, but it's a little more controlled, and you can control how much you add to the plastic. I'm not using a whole lot there. And it also depends on how much water you add or how much liquid you add to the plastic. But and it can get a little messy, but you can definitely control the area where you add it, and you can control kind of, you know, when you put the plastic down and then use your other hand to kind of smudge it down, you can kind of control that. And it's better to start with less color on the plastic than it is to go crazy, because you can always add more, but it's harder to, you know, take it up. And then if you don't like the way it looks around the edges, do what I'm doing here. Just take a brush and kind of fix it to where you like it. But I love how that looks. I think that shape looks really cool, and it's going to go really, really cool with everything back on top of it. So since everything is off, I'm going to go ahead and add some splatters. I'm using that same color. And this Christmas Cheer by Shimmers, it is a gorgeous gold. It's very, very shimmery. I'm going to show you here in a second once it's dry. But it's a nice, thick, creamy, shimmery gold paint. It's almost like there's blended up glitter in there. It's awesome. Yeah, I love the original Shimmers mixture because it's great. So here we go. Look at this. Look at that. Can you see that shimmer? It's just beautiful. I love it. You know me, I love me some gold. So yeah, we're going to try this as a background for now and see how it goes. I love how the pictures look with that shape. And some of it is going to get covered up. Obviously, that's just how it goes when you have embellishments and things. And I already knew the shape of, or not the shape of, but the design that I kind of wanted. I wanted some of the flowers up top, some of the flowers down below. So I'm going to see how much of the background I can still see with all of these things added in, and see if I need to add any more. And I'm going to start to add in everything else that I have picked out. That chipboard frame, I picked out a couple other pieces. That little piece that says "Love This" is a chipboard piece, and that little piece up top there that I just added says "Happy." That's a puffy sticker. And then these three little, I think they're snowflakes, but I'm going to consider them flowers because they look kind of flowery and they match, so I'm going to go with it. And now that I know where everything is going to go, I'm going to add a little bit more of the background since everything is there and I know what got covered up and what's still visible. So I'm just going to use a brush and kind of add some of that in, and yeah, just add a little bit more detail. So I'm going to go ahead and add in some twine or some cord, whatever you want to call that, to the edge of the tag. I love to do that with tags. I just feel like it gives them a finished look, and I know that that's going to go there, and it gives a little bit of texture and interest over to that side since there's a lot of white space. And then I'm going to go in and add my thread because I want to go ahead and do that before I start to glue things down. So I've got the light blue color that I'm going to tuck in right here underneath the left photo, because there's the photo and then there's that peachy flower, and so that's a good spot for some blue. And then over here underneath the right photo, I'm going to add in some light pink thread to pull out the color of the light pink flowers. And I also have the peachy color thread. I don't wind up using that though. I go back to the blue and add some of that up top underneath a couple of the flowers up there. And I am going to wind up popping up some of the flowers just to create some more dimension. Some of them are going to go flat onto the background, and then some of them are going to be popped up. And that's what I'm going to go and do now. I'm going to pop up this big one up at the top with some adhesive foam. And I love to do this when I use circles or a bunch of flowers like this. Some of them, the ones that are kind of on the bottom, I like to glue flat, and then the ones that overlap on top, I like to add some foam, or in this case, that one there is on top of the photo, so it's automatically lifted up since I lifted the photos up. And I'm going to start to very carefully just glue everything down. I'm using Scotch Tacky Glue in the fine liner bottle there. I love that glue. I know I say that a lot, but anytime I forget to mention it, someone asks me, so I want to make sure that I note that. Yeah, so I got everything glued down thus far. I like how this is looking. Lots of texture, lots of dimension. And then I thought, I love the background, but I want to add some more pink just to see how this would look. So we're going to hope for the best. I pulled out a Lindy's spray that we got a long time ago. It's literally almost empty. I've used it that much. It is called Cotton Candy Pink, and I don't even remember what month we got this. It might have been over a year ago, but I still have some left. And I'm just going to very carefully use my brush to add in some pink onto the background, and I think that this makes all the difference. And I know it's hard to see it here in true color on my desk with my big lights over here. Things never really look the right color when I'm filming, but I think it made such a big difference. It just added, I know I've said the word dimension a million times, but it really does. I feel like it just helps the photos kind of jump off the page a little bit more, and it helps bring home all of the pink tones, I think, since the background, although it is gold, it kind of comes across as yellow, and I didn't really use any other things on the layout that were yellow. So I thought adding pink would help. And then I accidentally got some pink on the flowers, and I thought, I like how that looks. Let's do it on purpose. So I just used this same pink and added some shading to the pink and peachy flowers, and I think that makes such a huge difference. It just adds texture and dimension to the flowers, and it gives them a little bit of a color variation. And I hadn't even planned on doing anything to the flowers, but once my brush accidentally hit the edge of it and it darkened it up a little bit of a pink shade, I thought, okay, I have to do that on purpose to all the flowers, not the blue ones, but yeah, so I thought, okay, happy accident turned into something positive. So I'm just going to keep working on the background, and I feel like this, like I said, makes a big difference in the end, in the final color pop, I guess you could say. I'm also going to splatter down this pink color. Yep, cover up the photos, because you know what will happen if you don't. Yeah, I think we've all done that once in our scrapbooking life. Splattered right onto the photo. And no matter what, it always lands on a person's face. Yep, guilty. Done that several times. Kicked myself afterwards. You know better. Cover up the photo. Okay, so I thought I wanted to do a little something something over on the left, and I had a flower of each color left over. So I thought I'm going to run these off the page over here and create a small cluster just to kind of bring your eye to that part of the layout and to kind of echo everything that I've got going on in the main chunk of the page. So that's what I'm going to do. And again, I'm going to glue some flat down. Actually, two of them are going to be popped up. Yeah, the pink one's going to be flat. I'm going to pop up these other two. And it just kind of adds something to that side of the layout since there's so much white space going on. which I do like. I do like to add a bunch of stuff on my pages, but I also like to leave some breathing space. And so that's where all of the parts come in, to where, you know, you just leave it alone. It's okay to leave open space. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to color up these flowers too so they match the other ones. And I didn't add any gesso or anything to the flowers. I just painted straight on them, and I love how that turned out. All right, so here's where I'm going to add in some of these exclusive puffy leaves. I haven't used these yet. Really, really cute. So I'm going to pick out the ones that have the little, I guess they're little berries. I didn't want this to look too Christmassy or too wintry. And I know a lot of the things in the kits this month are winter related, which are hard for me to use because I live in Florida and, you know, I don't have snow pictures. I don't have, quote, winter pictures. So I have to kind of make these things work for me, and mostly for like a generic layout. Like these are just selfies taken on our couch, you know, so I don't want this to come across as a themed type page because it's just a general type page. I'm going to use these black puffy alphas, and my title is going to be Funny and Cute. I almost used funny girl, but I couldn't make the word girl work underneath the word funny. The letters weren't nestling correctly, so I changed it to add an ampersand, and I think that one fits perfectly under the N and the Y, and I wanted a small word to add to that. So Funny and Cute, not the most creative title I've ever made up, but you know what, they're funny and cute pictures, so we're gonna go for it. And then I'm gonna add in a couple of these little puffy phrase stickers, which are awesome. I think those are my favorite things in the kits because the sayings are so appropriate and so just, I love them. So many of them work for me and my photos, and I love those. So I'm going to add in, I think, a couple of each color, at least one of each color. And yep, going to go with those. We're almost done here. I didn't want to add too much more. I'm trying to figure out where to put this blue one. I'm going to put it under the photo. I almost put it on top of the photo, but I didn't want to add anything else on top of the photos because there's enough already. I'm going to do the journaling over to the left. I thought about doing it under the word cute, but I decided to do it over on the left since there's more open space there. And I'm going to use my ruler there to draw some lines and then add in my journaling with my black fine tip Sharpie. And that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed watching this. The final layout is right there, and I love how the colors turn out. You can see the difference on the flowers since I added the pink paint. But yeah, this was fun to make, and I think it turned out cute. And I like the circles. You can see the dimension there from the adhesive foam and the work on the background, the texture of the paper showing through there. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did or used. I know the January kits are on their way or will be shortly, so be on the lookout for those. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time.